How would you like to make your first million? And today we have Marc Goodin with us, and he uh, he owned three self-storage and design, build, and manage storage authority. Get busy professionals to finish line with many benefits they would not get on their own. So, Mark, tell us, yeah, as a CEO of a storage authority franchise, what are the 5 steps that you recommend entrepreneurs in order to make the first million?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
In order to make the first million, I can give you 5 steps for sure. Step number one is commitment and consistency. There's no free rides out there. So you've got to write down on a piece of paper, hey, this is how many hours I'm going to work outside my career, my job, to find something that I'm going to be a multimillionaire at. And let's not aim for a million, let's aim for multi-million. So the second step is finding a path. What is your path? Are you going to be a doctor? Are you going to be this? Are you going to do that? My path and a lot of people's path is real estate. Real estate probably makes more millionaires than any other path out there. And I chose real estate just because I'm a civil engineer. So I dealt in real estate my whole life. There's third step is do research. There's all kinds of opportunities in every path. In real estate, there's Airbnb, there's single family homes, there's self-storage, there's plaza. So do the research, pick your path. And then you got the 3 steps done. You want to be a millionaire? It's not easy. Find the people in that path that you're in and become their friends. Hang out with them. Get the mentorship. And then the last step is, do it full blast. Don't go in half-heartedly. Do it 24 hours a day, night and day. There'll be plenty of time for the 4-hour work week. When we made our second and our third and our fourth million, we'll get to the 4-hour work week, but you've got to earn absentee income. It doesn't happen day one. So those are the steps, and it's out there for everybody. It just takes time. It doesn't happen overnight.
Mark, so out of the 500 millionaires that we interviewed so far in this podcast, 1 out of 5 are real estate investors and property entrepreneurs. So I want you to expand a little bit more in that vehicle. So what do you think that property is one of the most strongest vehicles? If you agree with me, it is real estate. And tell us the good, the bad, and the ugly, because we also don't want to mislead our listeners. It doesn't matter what I say. People are listening to the podcast. I say, wow, 1 out of 5 guys that are interviewed multimillionaires, they are all in property. I'm going to do property straight away. So um, tell us, the good, the bad, and the ugly of property. And why do you think is one of the most powerful vehicles out there to become wealthy, if you really believe so?
Absolutely. And there's a lot of different reasons. One reason is other people's money. When I build a self-storage, I only have to put 15% down with an SBA loan, and the other 85% by the bank. So I'm making a profit on the whole thing. So that's incredible. Another reason is appreciation. I buy that land now and I put my self-storage on it. The day I open, it's worth $2 million more than I put into it. But 10 years from now, it'll be double appreciation. And then depreciation. I spend several $1,000,000, including the bank's money, and the tax laws are written for us real estate developers. And so, I just posted something the other day online. If you opened a self-storage last year, this year, your life is going to be different. Starting with number one, you're not going to pay any taxes this year. So it's an incredible opportunity. A lot of those factors go together. So that's some of the quick positive aspects of it. Here's the thing is, too many people see all the commercials for Airbnb, self-storage, and they think it's easy. Absentee income is what they were thinking in their mind. There's no such thing as absentee income. You want absentee income, you invest in the stock market and you make 5%, 7% return. Or, you invest with a general partner and a limited liability partner and they do all the work. But if you want to make the big bucks, it's all on your shoulders. So, that's some of the bad news. It's going to take some money. You can be one of the lucky ones who don't have money, but you find a partner with money, but that's much, much, much harder than if you have your money. You just got to get out there, and maybe in real estate, you got all your money in the stock market. Okay. The stock market's high. It's super high. Everybody's loved that for the last couple of years. But you know what? As soon as it drops, that's when people are going to sell it. They always do that. They sell it, they buy high and sell it low. Take some of that money out and diverse it into real estate right now. In the beginning, you'll say, oh, look, it went up some higher. I could have made some more money. But in the long haul, real estate is the way to go. Now, what's the bad news? It's a lot of work. The real estate laws can change over time. You have competition, and whatever you do, you have to be the best. And the ugly and the good is it's up to you. Good, bad, and ugly. Our favorite Clint Eastwood. I'm an older guy, so I loved his movies, but it's up to you. He always took care of it. He always took responsibility no matter where you are. And that's the tough part. Entrepreneurship is not for everybody. We won't even let somebody in a storage franchise if they say, hey, I'm really not ready to give up my weekends. You're going to have to give up your weekends if you want to build a $10, $20 million company and make, $1 million, $2 million in your pocket. And the other good thing about real estate, tax-wise, buy it and die. I'm never going to sell my self-storages because every 5 years I can refinance and take $1 million cash out. Honest to God, I can do it, and it's tax-free. My renters pay that money back every single month. I mean, that's the best way to go is never sell. It goes to the next generation,
Yeah, Mark, I discovered like real estate by accident when I'm based in London. And when I started, I was working there as a bartender, and when they were paying me the salary, I'm looking at the salary and say, wow, rent is the most expensive thing that I have. If I overhead, I would be fine. So then my first business, we call it rent to rent. So I was renting the properties and renting out by the unit separate. And then we managed to sell over 5 million doing this. So I got lucky, kind of by accident. I get into the real estate, not for anybody, just for me to to try to find a solution to don't pay rent. That's what 16 years ago, Airbnb didn't exist back then. And the only devices that we have that was the top of the top was Blackberries, that they only can get emails faster. But I discovered like this, exactly what you said, the beauty of the real estate. However, the other day, I have a friend in London, and he's a real estate investor. He buys properties in London and also United States. And one day walking with him in London, he told me, Harry, it was like two buildings on high, and it was one property in the middle, right? And it was not as high as the other two in between. And he told me, Harry, you see this space between these? We call it airspace. And very few people know this. But if you buy the property, you can go high because the other two buildings in between. So in real estate, Mark, there is sometimes this niche of a niche of a niche. And if you manage to discover that and make it your thing, you can be successful. So tell us a story how you find the niche or the niche about the self-story, which I hear that is great. I've been doing rental. You have when the property in the rent to rent, even the window is not closed, the light bulb is not working, the toilet doesn't flush. Every day something happens. So it's very operational intense. Whether it sounds to me that self-storage more but just it sound to me because I never had the business. But tenants just, I think that they just pay rent and there is a very little bit maintenance over there unless there is a leak or something. But you don't have those in the day to day. So tell us how you end up this. It was kind of by accident. A friend told you. Because somehow you end up in the niche that in a commercial real estate where if you know what you're doing, could be less headache that having actual tenants.
Civil engineer by trade. So I owned an engineering company, and I was, I would design site plans, Dunkin' Donuts, Walmart's, homes, subdivisions. And back in the mid 80s, a guy came to my office and said, "Will you design a self-storage for me?" And I'm just a kid. I sure. What the heck is a self-storage? I didn't even know what a self-storage is. But over the years, I designed more and more. And those were the only guys going out fishing after they met with me. They weren't going back to work. All the other guys, they were doing a site plan, but they were going back to work. They had a job. The self-storage guys didn't have a job. So one day I said,
Wow, they were doing amazing, right?
yeah, I said, I got to do this. I went out and I built 2 storages. And then at age 50, I did exactly what I said I would never do. And I said, I'd never retire early. I said, I'd never move to 50. But, I doubled my engineering income. And I said, that's it, enough snow. And I retired at 50 years old. And then,
wow, very impressive.
Yeah, 5 years later, my wife told me, you got to go out and do something. I'm not going fishing with you anymore. I'm not traveling anymore. Too much is too much fun. The guy called me and he
Bored.
said,
You get bored. They'll say, oh,
yeah,
I'm going to become a millionaire, I'm going to travel, I'm going to be by the beach. And you get bored very quickly.
yeah,
Both this.
you got to do something. And a guy told me, he knew I had done a lot of self-storage. He said, would I help him? And he said he took all the courses, he went to the classes, he read the books, but it wasn't enough. He said, well, I help him one-on-one. I said, sure. About 6 or 7 weeks in of him paying me $200 an hour, he said to me, what you're telling me is you could tell everybody. You could tell the next guy. He says, there's no self-storage franchises in the United States. You should be the first one. I said, I know nothing about franchising. And he says, hey, you're lucky. I'm an expert in franchising. I was a star in the hotel franchising world, which is the biggest franchise out there practically, with the McDonald's and all. And he said, I will do that with you. I'll do the franchising side and you do the engineering and the self-storage side. It took us a year to put it together. And I said, okay, let's get started. He says, there's a problem. I have a job. I can't do this. I got to work. You don't have to work. So he traded me his half the company. And I helped him build his first self-storage. And now the guy's happy as a clam, multi-millionaire.
He's also retired, can work with you.
He is retired, but he's not work with anybody anymore. He dabbles in all kinds of things with his investment money. But it took him it took him 2 years, and he sold his place for a $7 million profit.
Wow.
After being open for 2 years.
Wow, that's very impressive. So, Mike, tell us what are the secrets? Because you see, in all over Florida, all over United States, you see self-storage everywhere, right? And some people might say, okay, there's a lot of competition. I think that if there is a lot, it's because there is demand for it. Otherwise, there won't be there. However, the secrets that you discover that after so much offer out there, how can you be different? How can be unique? How can you be unique? And tell us a little bit more about the franchise, how it works.
Yeah, there's a lot of out there. There's a lot of doctors out there, and there is a lot of self-storage out there. So you have to be aware of your competition. But here's what we found. Right now the self-storage is still 15, 20 years behind the hotel business. There's no hospitality in self-storage. The average self-storage, 95% are average. There's nobody that's above average. So what we've done is we've decided to be above average and be in the hospitality business. Most are in the real estate business. And so they just, whatever happens. You want to rent, you come in, great. Our people are trained in hospitality. They're trained in sales and marketing. I mean, we put a commercial vacuum out of every self-storage. Hey, it's for the community. Come use it for free. We put a 50-foot flag in every self-storage, so people use it for directions. Oh, it's past that flag there, you see, we have a coffee bar, a candy bar, a soda, and a water bar in every one of our self-storages.
Wow.
The ladies rent 85% of the self-storages. So we build a nice retail center inside our self-storages, make the ladies feel good.
Oh, wow.
So we know what they want, and we give it to them. Plus, we have a manager in the office, but we also have a kiosk in the vestibule. Somebody wants to come at 7 o'clock and rent, they can do that. If they want to talk to you or I, they can call us. We can rent over the phone. But being in the hospitality allows us to charge 30% more. And we've already paid, at 60% full, we've already paid our expenses. So when you charge 30% more, that's all profit. So charging 30% more gives you a lot more than 30% in profit, because that all goes to profit, where normally only 60% goes to profit.
So basically, yeah, because I've been in this self-storage, all you find there is just like that. You have your space, you open, and there's all by computers. You rarely see anybody there. Whether you change the dynamic, and it's more like a personal touch. There is people can buy food there, buy drinks. Is that correct?
Well, no, we give out free soda, free candy.
Oh, wow.
It's for our tenants.
And
On a hot day, our manager will take a grocery bag out, and everybody on site. Here in Florida, it's hot. Even in Connecticut, it's hot in the summertime. They'll hand out soda. We are in the hospitality business. We're not in the self-storage business.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic.
So that
Amazing.
makes the difference. We're not even in the real estate business. That just allows us to be profitable.
Mm-hmm. Mark, and how do you came with this idea?
Well, again, like I had mentioned before, it was a friend. He became my friend. He was looking to build his own storage, and he was in the franchise world. And so he came up with the idea. We did that together. And it's been a wild ride. We are the only self-storage franchise in the United States, storage authority franchise, and our goal is to create multimillionaires. Their goal typically is to, most of our franchise people are already making a good 6-figure career. They're business people, they're professionals, they sold a company. But what they want to do is have that income or larger income when they retire, or retire early. And, to find a franchise or something you can do on the side if you're a dentist, let's say. But self-storage is one of those things. Like you mentioned, operations is easy. We have 2 employees. We don't have to paint after everybody moves out. We're not stuck in court if somebody doesn't pay their rent. We have a system, just months. We put a 30-day notice, have an online auction, and then the stuff is gone, and we rent the unit to the next person. So
amazing.
Just a lot of advantages.
Yeah. Mark, so what is gonna take to get a franchise? If somebody's listening to the podcast and want to do a franchise with you, how does it work?
Well, it works this. They check out our website, storagefranchise.com, and it gives quite a bit of information, FAQs. And then if you're interested, you give myself or Garrett or one of us a call. We have a 15-minute call with you. Just go over some of the basics. Where do you live? And some of those details. Make sure we're on the same track. And then if that's good, what we do is we have you fill out an application, and we have a couple of discovery Zoom meetings like this. And then if we're a good fit, but
how much capital the franchisee need to have?
Well, most of our franchisees, like I said, they're busy professionals. They want to replace a substantial income. They don't want to get in self-storage to make $100,000 a year. They want to get in to make $500,000, sell it for a $6 or $7 profit. So in order to do that, you have to build a substantial self-storage. So it takes $1.5 million in capital.
They have to be available this capital, or maybe they can get it with business loan.
They're going to also take out a business loan for several $1 million. But
you need 1.5 million
of money
on your own to liquid,
right?
Yeah,
right.
On top of what you're gonna get. And Mark, you will help them how? You will help them to find the location, or how does it work? Or they need to find land and come to you guys? Well, and how much your fee? How much the franchise fee is? How does it work?
Yeah, we help them from day one. We show them how to find land, how to review land. Any parcels they have, we follow up. If it's good, bad, or we need more information. In the end, they get their own third-party feasibility study for profit and loss. We've never been wrong once. So and these feasibility studies can cost a couple $1,000. So we do that feasibility study with them, but we do it hand in hand. I don't want to go out and find a piece of and one town they say, oh no, I'm into Florida, I want to look over here. Hand in hand, finding the land, going through the feasibility, going through the banking, the design. It's all going to be owned by them in the end. So they have a say in everything, but we take step by step by step.
So how you guys get paid then?
Well, we get paid like every franchise. Every franchise has a franchise fee to pay the initial helping, finding land, and training the managers and training everybody. So that's a one-time fee. Our franchise fee is, and you'll see all this on our FAQs, is $69,000. And then we have for ongoing guidance and assistance, and we provide the software, we provide the website. There's a lot of things we provide.
Oh wow, very good. Hey Mark, if you provide the the operational side, I mean the softwares and everything, I think this is good. This is good
try
because
to,
the operation, the simple, that doesn't mean that because if you contract, for example, if you're having the right contract, or at least guide them how to use the right contract, and the operational side, like the software for CRM, customer
the right
service,
architect.
also the at least marketing and sales, so people know sell the storage space, what people need to call, what to say, and things like this. I
We
think it's
provide
very
this
good.
we provide this for the phone
Oh
calls.
wow, very good.
If somebody says to me, oh, you're the guy down the street is the best value, the guy down the street's half price, can you match the price? Our managers know, hey, I understand you want the best value for your money. You can see how we're much different, and we're not going to raise our rents for a year. Those guys raised the rents in 2 months, $90. I rented a unit. Here's the proof. So we've got the facts to make it easy for them. It takes an owner a year, maybe a year and a half, to become really familiar with the system, and they have to become familiar with everything because the managers could come and go. So, but once you get to that point, you have earned the income, and you can run a facility in 4 hours a week. 4 hours a week for $500,000 a year, plus a multi-million-dollar refinance or sale whenever you want. So it's a great business. It's fun. A lot of the values in the land and the building. And what that means is inflation goes 3% and you raise your rents 3%, your costs only went up 1%. You're making 2% more profit next year. So every year you make a 1 to 2% more profit than the year before. It doesn't sound like a lot, but you take 1 to 2% profit over 10 years, you've just added 20 to 30% profit to your business.
Because you guys, Mark, because you're a civil engineer, I'm a mechanical engineer. So you guys build the land, and then you build the self-storage from scratch. Is that correct?
Yes, that's
wow.
the way to make the largest profit.
Wow.
You buy one. Yeah, if you buy one, you might make 5-7% profit when you first buy it. But if you fill it up, you're doing the hard work. You get that bonus profit of millions, and a much higher return, more like in the return for your money, which is practically unheard of. But it takes time. It takes some money. It's not for everybody. But for those that decide, I don't know of a better route.
And then, Mark, the system works all over United States, so you prefer to specialize, I don't know, Florida, Texas, or I don't know. Which places do you think that for the franchisee are better, or you guys cover all over United States?
Well, we're all over the United States. We are all over the United States. But, you're going to own a business. You're going to make so much more money if it's close to home. Okay. Because,
100%.
how can you go check that, the manager is even showing up for work? How can you check? We have ways of doing all this, but, if the more you eyes on your facility, the more money you're going to make. So we recommend everybody build within an hour of their home. We have one
100%.
guy right now that's in banking in Florida. He lived up in New England, but
Wow.
he wanted to live down in Florida, and he used self-storage as his transition. There's some areas, self-storage is a 3-mile radius. It's all what's in 3-mile radiuses. And there's some 3-mile radiuses that are better than others. There's more people, there's more traffic, there's less competition. So we look at all those things as we help our franchisees find land.
And then and actually, Mark, the other question I want to ask you is, people use this as a storage for, yeah. So they what they keep, that they keep the values, they keep the pieces of the boats. There are, in Florida, sometimes the houses are big and then people have big backyards. What do you think? What are more things that people can put in self storage out of the traditional that we are nowhere.
It's
Because,
it's it's a crazy business when you think about it.
is
You
it?
see row after row of something. I mean, 2 or 3% is students rent between school. 5 or 6%
Yeah.
are people getting divorced. A
Uh-huh.
percent is when people die, they put the stuff in self storage for the family to look it over.
Mm.
Vast majority is our people are moving, so that's about half. 15 to 20% is local businesses. It's cheaper to put their stuff in
Exactly.
self-storage than
Absolutely.
add on. And another 20% is just people that don't have enough room in their house, and they're going to have a self-storage forever. We've
Wow.
had
So it's
people,
coming from, right?
yeah, we've had people rent from us for 15 years. So
Wow.
it's a wide variety. And we're going to see in the next couple of years, because it's been slow with the home building industry. We can get interest rates down another 0.5%. We're going to see some more homes being built and being sold. And so I think we're going to see an incredible 2026, 27. In the next 5 or 6 years, it's going to be some record-breaking things happening. So today's the day to get out there and look for land. People here, one of the hard things you said, good, bad, and ugly.
Yeah.
The ugly thing is it takes time to find land, and the real estate brokers aren't going to find it for you. We have to find it with you by driving the roads. It's
Oh, wow.
we drive the roads. We drive them on the computer. When we're on the computer, we can see all the other self-storages. We can see the zone. We can see the demographics. So it's all on the computer. And when you drive down the street, you got your eyes peeled.
Yeah. And land is becoming less and less in the in Florida. Well, some places more than the other one. Denmark, what choosing property as vacant, okay? The uh what do you think that the market will be moving into uh in Florida and United States? I think that you said something that this year is gonna be better. What, there is a change of regulation or tax in Florida, or why this year be very good? I think you said that when you just.
For one example, if you live in Florida, it's going to be tremendous. 240,000 people are moving to Florida every year. And after this big storm, we're probably going to have more moving to Florida. And the average is about 8 square feet of self-storage per person in the United States. So if you take a
Oh,
quarter million
wow.
people, take a quarter million people times 8, you're gonna need a couple more million square feet of self-storage this year, the next year, every single year. So the places people are traveling to are often have the rental rates like Florida, and certainly they have the highest need. But like I said, I own 2 self-storages in Connecticut. People aren't moving to Connecticut, but people do live there. And
Therefore,
so
they need it, right?
and what's
Wow, you bought it in Connecticut. Wow.
I
As
was
far
born
where
in
you are,
Connecticut. I
as
was
far
born
where
in
you are now, no?
Well, I was born in Connecticut, and I actually retired when I lived in Connecticut, and then I moved to Florida. Once I sold my engineering business, and
Out of the three self-storage you own, do you have one in Florida or what are they?
no, two is in Connecticut, and one actually happens to be in New Brunswick, Canada. A lot of my family
Wow,
and my wife's family's up there, so we
wow,
went up. We went up for a summer, and I saw this piece of land, and I said, I went to the town. I
wow.
said, "Can I build self storage on this?" And they said, "Sure." So why
Ah.
not?
And
So
the price was good for the land?
yeah, the price is good for the land. More so you can
Uh,
imagine. So we had to buy a
significant.
tractor and a few of them. But
So,
so anyways,
but
people
then,
are.
Mark, what is gonna take? Like, for example, you need 1.5 million liquid, okay? And then let's say if you're gonna build it, you need to go and get a development finance from the bank, right?
Right.
You will buy the
First
land.
you buy the land typically when you get the bank loan. We put an option in land to buy it. Say we put an option in to buy it at $800,000. And then we get the civil engineer and the architect to design it and get it approved. And then we take all that to the bank with the contractor's proposal dollar amount. The bank loans us the money.
But then we with the option to buy the land, let's say 100,000, right? And that's why you need the liquid because you will have to have that liquid to make the option for the land, right?
Sometimes that money to buy the land. Other times, you still use it to buy the land, but it's after you got the bank loan. It just depends. We typically don't buy it until we
Mm-hmm.
have approved. We don't want to end up with a piece of land that
100%.
we can't build. So
Yeah.
we get approvals before we buy it.
Okay. Brilliant. And then, but with the bank loan, it's only the development. Okay, so yeah, you will need give it or take 1.5 million to buy the land, to pay your franchise fee. Any other cost that people might have apart from the 1.5 million?
No, that covers a lot. We use some of that money for design. That
Uh-huh.
can be used for carrying costs until you break even. That's
Mm-hmm.
why
You have
it's
to the team marketing at the beginning to fill up the space.
yep, yep.
Or shall we rent you go? Is that possible or not really?
Well, yeah,
Can you build like a
sometimes
fourth and rent it and like divide in four and you rented some part while you build the rest? So this is not really possible.
absolutely. Self-storage is one of the businesses that you can build in phases. So you can build it in three
That's
phases,
good.
one
That's
phase or two
good.
phase.
That's
Um,
very good. You
yep.
don't with one phase and because like this, you do it gradually, Mark. You don't keep your cost down, right?
You keep your costs down. A lot of people like just do it in one phase just because they don't want to go through that construction. It just takes
Mm-hmm.
time, and there's always a headache. And
Okay. How
but
about Mark if there is one investor that come to you and say, "Look, I have 10 million to put in service." How that we work? And they don't want to do anything. They just want to be an investor with you guys, right? Is that possibility open? We
yes,
partner with you. Here's 10 million. I want to talk to you. Don't call me. You find the stuff, you find the land, you find this, you build it, you have experience, you put that to produce, and then I mean, you share like a business partner. Is that possibility open or not really because you are retired?
yeah. Well, there are ways. We're open to a lot of things. If you put it to the extreme, I want to have nothing to do with it. Well, if I'm going to do everything, I might as well own the whole thing myself. I've got 1.5 million in the bank. I
I'm
don't
just
need you for that. But I can tell you, a lot of our franchisees, they are very busy, and we have them hire somebody on their team. They pay them $30 an hour for 4 to 8 hours a week. Do the math. It's not very much. 20, you pay them
Mhm.
20 grand. You pay somebody to watch it from your side, who's local,
Yeah,
and we do it with him. But that's the franchise.
exactly. I get it. I get it.
What
Yeah,
they're
they need
talking
to have.
about,
They have to find someone that run the operation.
right? Otherwise, you build it, nobody's really going to, nobody's going to help you. You're going to, we help save 300 or 400,000 by the time they open their doors. But you could live on your own and pass it to a management company to run. If you want to put time in, but you make so much less money with a management company.
Yeah.
They charge, it's all done about 18-19%, and they don't care the way you care. They
big
don't
money,
care.
the big money, how you doing it, right? Like you
Right.
buy the land,
Right.
you build it, and you run it yourself. This is
Make
how you
so
make,
much more money.
this is how you make money with this. And it's not
Double.
rocket science as, someone that know what he's doing. Yeah.
Right.
If you don't know
Right.
what you're doing, is difficult. But if you have someone with experience, in this podcast, we have one guest that we interviewed before, and this is what they were doing. They were buying warehouses all over United States and turn them into self storage. Yeah.
Right. And you
So
can do that with our business. You can convert an old Walmart or an old Kmart. So we do conversions as
exactly.
well. Take a building
Exactly.
that's used for something else. We're doing one right now in Detroit, an old furniture store.
Wow, very good. Yeah. Yes, that's what the guests that attended this podcast they were doing. They were finding large warehouses and turning it into self storage.
Absolutely.
So I aware that the model is amazing. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan because, like I said, I'm coming from rent, which is imagine renting property and then units. I think United States they call it co-living. So it's very operationally intense. You have a lot of tenants, and the tenants are living there. You don't, so you have to provide heat if you are in London. You have to provide heat, and make sure that everything works. Then you have the appliance, the washing machine get broken, the
It's a
refrigerator
lot.
get broken. So I have 28 houses at some point that I was managing. So 177 tenants, and every day
Wow.
March happen. Every day. Yeah. We
Every
have
day.
a band with two contractors, 24/7 because there is a day that something happened in any of the houses. If it's not the day that you were peacefully is of light bulbs. But otherwise, oh God, every day the fridge, the washing machine, the microwave, that even the microwave get broken, you have to send the contractor to buy and put it there, right? For the tenant.
Yep.
We were delivering also this premium service. We were charging a little bit more than the normal, than the standard rate. So it's the service that that we had to meet the standard. We were making a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, because we charge them more than the standard price, but that requires like a large hands-on operation. So, and you're talking to me about self-storage, and the operation compared with what we used to run is like a joke, because it's amazing. So, like I said, I'm rooting for you. I'm a big fan. Yeah, big fan of because we done it the hard way with tenants, and it's very intense. The operation you had with several people, management, operational managers. Still, you have to have your people because you have to rent the room, and it's intense, profitable. So this amazing. Last message that you have for the young people listening to you. You know what? Making money is easy. Gonna money very easy, and I'm gonna become a millionaire very easy. Those guys, you see, they are bold. They are all. There is no point to listen to them. They are old school. So any message that you have for the young entrepreneur coming up, seeing like like a solid an entrepreneur that have managed to make millions and retire himself at 50, and now he's doing what he loves, helping other people. So what message for young people do you have?
Well, for young people, and I did this, and people are going to say it's a little crazy, but you should be taking of every paycheck, putting that into or investment, because no matter what you do, no matter what business you do, at the very least, if you need that money to pay you something, well, that business grows, or you might need something because you got to buy something for that business. So start saving your money right now, If you want to be an entrepreneur, it's only 1% to 3% of the whole population. So you're going to have to be different. And if you can't save 20% of your income and live on the rest, I don't care how little you make saved or how much you make, because that's going to get you a foot in the door. Other than that, you can start small in real estate. I bought one little duplex. Eventually, I sold 6 or 7 buildings I owned and traded up to self-storage. So, there's a lot of ways to start small and do that. Start small. It's okay, but start saving that money today.
All right, thank you so much for the broadcast. That's amazing. Thank you so much for joining. We wish you the best. Like I said, I'm a big fan of the model. So from here, from Unstoppable Podcast, we're rooting for you. Yeah. And that you help as much people to become millionaires in the self-storage business, especially these busy people, that they are cash rich and time poor, they're in a corporate job, and they don't have time to spend with the wife, with the kids, and they're kind of trapped in this golden cage. So it's time now that they start to evaluate a different opportunity, because you see sometimes, and a lot of people listen this podcast that they are in corporate, that they want to do the transition to become an entrepreneur, or or to find a way that they can actually retire. So invest in real estate and having the right vehicle and get them fast. Just do your due diligence, and you will be fine. Thank you so much, Mark. And for all of you, following, thank you so much. For all of you following the podcast, see you in our next about how a brave entrepreneur like Mark break that wall and achieve the first million. Bye for now.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.